Our system, if we're feeling world pain, if we're looking at the state of the world, that the Earth is going through its sixth extinction, and we're losing species at such a rapid rate, and the oceans are filled with plastic, and Trump, and this and that, and it's all like, oh God, like, I just can't take it, right? It's so heavy, it's so horrible, it's so, ugh. And so when people are indulging that state, they are adding those vibrations to our collective. Are they helpful? No. No. I mean, what we know from science is it's the coherent emotions of love, of gratitude, of compassion that create coherent vibrations. And there's a tendency, in this community, to talk about how we want to raise our vibrations. We want to. That's the sort of phrase that's attached to getting this all straightened out somehow. Right? I'm just going to raise my vibration. I actually don't like that phrase, and the reason why I don't is because it's technically, for me as a sound therapist, it's technically incorrect. Because there are vibrations in the universe that are light years across from crest to trough. And unimaginably low vibrations. And as humans, and as being electrically connected to all of the universe, those vibrations are available to us to tune into. Are they bad? Are they something you want to raise yourself out of? No. So there's this tendency, especially in people who've had trauma, sensitive people born into insensitive families. Anybody like that? Where this idea that 3D reality kind of sucks. And so we want to ascend to 5D. Or we've had trauma, and how we manage that is to disassociate, is to go up and out. And so when we talk about raising our vibrations, it kind of plays into that up and out thing. Oh, this is all unpleasant and difficult, and I can't be here. I got to go to 5D now. and then there's a judgment about those lower emotions of hate, of rage, of jealousy, of what are some other bad emotions you don't want to feel?
Shame.
Shame. Oh God, yeah, that one's the worst. It sucks to feel shame. It's so much easier to blame than to feel shame. That's what a lot of people do. Like, I'm not even going to feel my shame because it's a horrible feeling. Yeah, guilt, too. Frustration, disappointment, all of these uncomfortable emotions. So but the ones that we tend to judge, especially if we're spiritual, we tend to judge rage, we tend to judge hate. And we don't want to acknowledge that we would even feel that, so we're going to rise above it. In biofield tuning, we don't look at anything, any experience, any emotion as positive or negative. Every emotion is a wanted emotion. I remember working with a shamanic practitioner and telling her about how I wouldn't let myself feel jealousy. And she was like, oh, that's interesting. Why would you want to stop yourself from feeling any of your emotions? And I was like, wow, that's a really good point. Why would I want to, right? So we judge ourselves. We judge our strong emotions. We judge and we try to suppress them and raise our vibrations instead. But what we want to do, and what's actually more technically correct, is we want to clarify our vibrations. We want to get the noise out of the signal. We want to find our own vibrational sweet spot. We want to take the heavy energies, the baggage that we're carrying around, and we want to alchemize that so that it's light and flowing. So what we're really looking to do through all of that, through releasing what's heavy and stuck and alchemizing it into light, through accepting whatever uncomfortable emotions are arising, being willing to be with them as they rise up and crest and fall away, and expressing them in whatever way is most appropriate in that moment. Then by doing that, what we do is we raise our voltage. We raise the amount of electricity that's flowing through our system. We raise the electrical potential across every cell membrane. And when the body has enough voltage empowering it, it fixes itself. And we don't need supplements, and we don't need pills, and we don't need green things endlessly. I'm really grateful for that because I don't really like vegetables very much. I'll go as long as I can without eating vegetables just to see how many I actually need. How many? I actually find, for me, I used to suffer from terrible gas and bloating and indigestion and heartburn and leaky gut and couldn't have gluten and couldn't have dairy and, was always whinging about my belly. And what happened was I developed, one of the systems that I developed is called an adrenal rhythm reset. And what we find is that most people who've been under stress for long periods of time, their adrenal rhythm is running too high and too fast. It's like a toilet with a stuck handle. It's just running. And so we're in this state of being tired and wired. We're exhausted because we're so depleted, but we've got adrenaline running through our system. So we're wired, we're not sleeping, we've got insomnia, that sort of thing. And when your adrenals are running, you're in, oh gosh, I always get these backwards. What is it when you're in sympathetic? Which is the good one? Sympathetic or parasympathetic? Parasympathetic is good. Okay, so sympathetic on, which means that your energy is not going to your digestion. It's going into this, I'm ready to fight or flee or freeze, which is what most people do. They freeze. They don't fight or flee. And so your digestion is compromised one from that. I also did what we've all been programmed to do. I gave myself away to everybody. I put everybody else's needs ahead of my own. I never took time to recharge. I was constantly running on empty. My battery meter was so low, and I was just a mess, and my adrenals were constantly on. So what ended up happening was I got an adrenal rhythm reset from my first apprentice. And that, combined with more tuning, which made my field more coherent, the more we take this stuff that's all stuck out here and we bring it into the body, not only does our battery meter go up, but our digestive fire goes up. And so once I went out of sympathetic on and got all of my energy put back into my system, and my voltage went up, suddenly I could eat anything. And happily I do. And what I find is that I like to survive on bread and cheese and meat. All these things that we've been told that are bad for you, right? We were really living in a culture where like these sorts of what I call a small farm diet. The traditional foods that our ancestors ate before industrial food became the norm. And that our ancestors survived quite nicely on lovely cheeses and breads and even smoked meats. All of these things have been demonized. And we're told that they're not healthy, and especially in the United States and California where I've spent a lot of time. Everybody's trying to eat raw and green and, and they're always hungry and kind of neurotic. If I eat a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich and a bagel, I go for 5 hours on that. I look at my digestion like a wood stove now. And good, thick, heavy food burns slow and good. So, the answer to your health problems is not necessarily what you think it is. That you're much better off thinking about how you're managing your electrical energy. I think if my digestion is a wood stove, and my wood stove is tight and well built, and I put the right kind of fuel in, it's just, what is a calorie? It's a unit of heat. That's it. And there's nothing that's good or bad. Chocolate cake isn't bad. I also follow what I call moderate hedonism. and hedonism is the belief or the idea that life is meant for pleasure. There's a fellow by the name of Stuart Hameroff who is advancing this notion that life evolved in pursuit of pleasure. If you take a Petri dish with some bacteria in it and you put a drop of acid in it, all of the bacteria is going to move away to the other side. None are going to hang out by it and go, I'm a victim. I'm suffering. I'm pain. Oh. They're just going to go, oh, bad. But how many of us stay in the middle of toxicity claiming we're a victim? Boy, that sucks a lot of juice, I'll tell you. Right? So this idea that my body is designed for pleasure and that I want to enjoy all the pleasurable things that life has to offer, whether it's whiskey or chocolate ice cream or tobacco or, all these things that we say are bad. I mean, how many little old ladies have lived to be past 100 smoking butts? Right? It isn't these things that kill us, it's stress and emotions. And we can learn to, so if I'm faced with chocolate cake or this or that, I go, well, how much of this pleasurable substance can my body successfully metabolize today? Sometimes it's a whole piece of cake. Sometimes it's just a few bites and that's enough. So learning to master that pain-pleasure boundary. For example, I love cappuccino, one of my favorite things in the whole world. Who else loves coffee? Yeah. So now I know for me that one cappuccino is pleasure, but if I have two, it goes into the realm of pain. So I'm just gonna have one. I'm not gonna go, coffee's bad, I have to live without it or with it. I just have to live with it in just the right amounts. Right? So when we start thinking about our body as electrical and in terms of this battery meter, and we throw out the good and the bad judgments of all of that, we start to really honor that we maybe are designed for pleasure, and we are designed to enjoy life.